Hey, Hawkeye fans, welcome back. Well, we are sadly fresh off of a Cy-Hawk loss. But by the time this episode comes out, we will be far past the 24-hour rule. So we are moving on to Troy University coming up this weekend. Plus, we've got a fantastic interview with a tight end from the Hawkeye football team, Zach Ortwerth. We hope you love it. Thank you so much for coming back. This is Talkin Hawks presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hello, Matt.
God is good.
I didn't even ask how you're doing.
I know, but I'm going to take the reins on this one because I feel like there's a lot of upset fans after a loss.
You know,
rightfully so.
It happens.
It does happen. And we have another opportunity.
Yeah, we do. And I mentioned in our little intro that we're far past the 24-hour rule. But you and I are going to talk about the Iowa State game.
We're going to fester in that 24. Technically, when this is recorded, we're within the 24-hour rule.
True.
Just when it comes out, we're going to be past it. But
that's right. That's
it
exactly
is what it is.
And then we'll move on.
What is a 24-hour rule? Can you explain it to me?
Well, it's like you can only talk about the game and think about the game and reflect on it for the 24 hours past the game. And then after that, like you forget about it, you move on and you talk about the next opponent. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good rule.
Even if you win?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's both
sense.
Win and loss.
Yeah. Because you can't like be too high before going into another game.
Correct.
Got it. Well, I have a story for you.
Oh.
You know the story, but this is kind of, it's crazy.
But it's indicative of my experience with that fan base.
I know. I have never had like a really bad experience with any fan or any fan base, but I actually had my first bad experience with a fan on my way out to my car on Saturday. So I was walking out and I'm like walking down Melrose and just minding my own, right? I was walking, like everyone around me is really sad. And like I was, like, oh man, we lost, but I'm not the type to like cry about it or, whatever. So anyway, walking to my car and I had this like booming clap. Like, I don't want to do it too close to the mic, but it was like this, like that, like right in my ear, like a bunch of times, like over and over. And I was like, holy cow. And I like turned around and I was like, it was like this man, probably mid 40s, really tall. I would say probably like 6'3" or 6'4", bald guy, pretty big, walking with his wife. Iowa State shirt. Boom, 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 boom. Like in my ear, like clearly celebrating. And I was like, whoa, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to clap in my ear. I was like, whoa, you don't have to do that. It's all right. And then he got like really mad. He got really heated, like really fast and like snapped. And I have never, like, as a young woman, there are times when like, if you're walking out to your car from the grocery store or whatever, you think about like, is that guy too close to me? Is that guy going to steal me? Is this person trying to, right? Like these are things people have to think about that are like 5'6" and a woman. So anyway, I've never been afraid that a man was going to like physically assault me until this moment. It was so crazy. And he's like, well, you didn't have to turn around and say that to me. And I was like, oh no, he's unhinged. And he was walking with his wife and his wife was like, stop, whatever. And I kind of felt bad for her. And I was like, I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude. I just didn't want him to do that right next to my head. And she kind of like was like, it's okay, whatever. And he was like, no, you were trying to be rude. And he like continued to berate me for the next like
a lot of expletives and
yes, with like a lot of words that I'm not going to say right now, and like telling me I need to learn how to lose. And like I was like, no, I didn't lose the game. I wasn't playing. Like I'm okay. I promise you I'm okay. So I was just kind of like, okay, no, I got it. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Like, no problem. I was really, really scared. Anyway, and then that's kind of how it ended. And then I guess I kind of just like kept walking, like, I'm just going to keep doing my thing, get to my car, whatever. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to do it again. And like right in my ear again. I was like, oh man, like, and he just really wanted me to know that we lost. And it was just like, it was a lot. I just have never experienced that before. And then like I look over to my left and there was like almost like a fist fight between I don't even know who in the middle of Melrose. And I was like, I have to go. I got to get out of here. So yeah, that was really unfortunate and very uncomfy. I was a little rattled after it.
I know the story, and hearing you retell it, I've got this sitting in me that I would have just dropped him without saying a word.
Dude, he was really big. Like he was a very tall man.
I don't care.
Okay, Matt.
I don't care. I was a trained fighter. I don't know why this isn't the thing.
Well, I'm just saying, I honestly probably would have been like, let's just go, because he was so unhinged. Like he was just like in
drunk afternoon game. Yes,
yeah,
I get it.
It was really a lot. So anyway, we got out unscathed though. Actually, that's not true. I went to
a good pub for the pod if I'd have dropped him though.
Yeah. Not good for me. But actually,
not your pub, but
I did not get out unscathed.
My stock would have.
I went to like turn really quick because I wanted to like get to where I was going. And so I made like a sharp turn because I was scared and nervous and like not paying attention. And I actually ran my right leg, my right thigh into a fire hydrant. And I have a really big bruise and a scratch on it now. So I didn't get out unscathed. I was injured in the process by my own doing. But anyway, yeah, it was really scary and just a really unfortunate situation. So sometimes football gets the best.
Apparently he doesn't know how to win either.
Well, when it doesn't happen very often, you got to celebrate hard.
There's that too.
I didn't say that.
Oh, but we're saying it now.
No. Yeah, just kind of just felt bad for his wife because she goes, that's the girl that does the stuff on the video board. And he's like, I don't care who she is. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to go to my car. Just like sinking. Yeah. So yeah, it was just
just sitting there.
I know. I'm sorry. It was a lot. So anyway, aside from that, I mean, generally, for the most part, like the vibe in Kinnick was really good. Like it was so loud. Like I can't remember the last time that Kinnick was that loud. It was like crazy. Everybody was super into it. The student section was crazy. They were playing that song. I think it's called Mobamba. Matthew's telling me that that's correct. I don't know any of the words or if there are like real words in it.
That's even better.
But they started playing that. I don't know if it was like every third down or what it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But every time they played it, the entire student section would do it. And it was so loud. Like the fan base was like on it. It was super fun. But the ending just wasn't exactly what we wanted. But sometimes that happens. So let's talk about it. Let's discuss. I'm also not wearing my wedding ring today. I should probably mention that.
Well, there was a comment last week that said after the offensive line stuff, there's some unease in the VandeBerg household. And now look at you.
And now I'm not wearing my ring. I just accidentally walked out of the house with it.
It's funny
Matt's
how
like,
that works.
Nice, you're not wearing your ring. And I was like, you're here. I think it's okay. But anyway.
Okay.
Continue.
So kind of a tale of two, and it's not even two halves. It's 1 quarter and 3 quarters.
I know. The first quarter, I was like, are we going to the college football playoff? Did we all have that thought? I was texting you like, we look so good. Yeah.
The first drive looked really good. Get down the field, score, and then we get the interception early with Jay Higgins. You know, the big pump by Reese that we down at like the 1,
that
and
was
then
so cool.
3rd and 2, and then 2 penalties near that north end zone. So shout out to the north end zone.
Shout out to the north end zone. That was so fun to watch that happen again. They were so rattled.
I really haven't seen that many snap infractions. Do you know what that means? Like they called a snap infraction on the center.
I actually don't know what that means.
It's like he goes to snap it and then doesn't fully snap it. It's like he didn't trust himself.
Okay.
And then he snaps it. So it's like a movement and then go, because he couldn't even hear the snap. He's like, wait, was I supposed to? And like, that's pretty crazy.
Gotcha. So, how do you combat that as the other, like, what do you say? Like, okay.
Iowa has their own way of dealing with that. Maybe I just don't trust teams that go on a clap. And I can't remember exactly if they always go on a clap, but like there should be a silent count within the line and then the line takes care of it. It should go when the center goes.
Okay.
Meaning that like the quarterback doesn't have to go Mondays at Hut or whatever the ducks, whatever the call is. Just have the center snap it when he's ready.
Gotcha.
And everybody else just be ready.
Okay.
And the center tells everybody else when to go. Like literally tells the other lineman when to go. But like that way you're not relying on the quarterback trying to make a call or to hear that when there's that many people cheering and everything. This was a big deal a couple of years ago. Was it Nebraska?
It was Penn State.
It was Penn State because they go on a clap.
Yeah, I can't remember how.
And then we started clapping.
Was it Trace McSorley? Was it that year?
No, because I was still in school. No, I'm pretty sure it was when Scott Frost was at Nebraska. He like brought it up to the refs of like, they can't clap at us. And Kev's we can clap. Like, that's not a big deal.
Oh, you're talking about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the north end zone happening.
No.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
yes.
I'm talking like the clap cadence and like
I
it
remember
confused the center because like, then don't do it.
I do remember this. Okay. Sorry.
But anyway, so that was really cool. Obviously, like you said, fans were into it. That results in the pick. Unfortunately, we don't get a touchdown. So there were 2 times we were inside the 10-yard line with first down and we don't score a touchdown. Like obviously that needs to improve. And I think there's a few things that are still happening within the system that Cade is still figuring out. I mean, again, it's first year in the system. You're going to have things where, okay, this is your first read versus this is your first read, right? Like if you're seeing zone, you're going to go 1 to 2 to 3 because based on the way this concept works, you're going to look over here. I think I saw 3 separate times where Jacob Gill was open, but we just didn't get him the ball. So I don't know if that's just like a bust on the coverage and he wasn't, he's not the primary option. So that's why we're not looking at him. Or potentially he's just later in the progression and didn't get to him because we were moving in the pocket. Like there's a lot of different areas there. But so the first quarter, we took care of it. But then progressively on, we were starting to do a few different things in the pass game that just wasn't as clean as it was last week. Reese Vanderzee, true freshman. We're still working on how to get off like linebacker reroutes or cornerback reroutes. I think there was one where he fell down. Like that happens, especially like when you haven't repped it a ton of like ripping or like pinning, do an arm over like I just called it an arm over, but basically you just slap their hands away and then you do it with the second arm. But like that comes with time because you probably didn't have to deal with a whole lot of rerouting at Central Lyon. And all I'm doing is just basing off what I saw. These aren't my opinions. And I'm never going to talk bad about anything on here. I think I've established that. Now that we're in season 2, but I am going to address what did happen. And sometimes you just have to go through that kind of stuff in order to learn, be like, all right, I'm not going to let that happen again. And then you take care of it. That's part of, you'd rather learn in a win than learn in a loss, but there are things to gather from every single game.
Well, it's kind of like Jay Higgins in his post game press conference when he was like, yeah, like that really, and I'm sure you'll talk about this. Like he explained the 75-yard catch and how actually that wasn't on Xavier, like that was more on him, and just kind of explaining like what exactly happened, which is what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like we're trash or anything like that, and I'm not going to. There are just things that obviously I saw that just happened. So one thing that we did really well in the first half was run off tackle, but Iowa State did a really good job of changing their looks in the second half. And they basically said, we're not going to let Caleb Johnson beat us, even though he still had like a 60-yard run and some other stuff. Like he looks good.
He looks really good.
He looks good. But 25 carries even. Did it feel like he carried the ball 25 times? Like it still doesn't feel like he touched the ball often enough. 25 times. It's kind of crazy.
Maybe, yeah.
And they still get other guys involved. Like LaShawn Williams had the really big third down. I think it was like 3rd and 8. He got the first down at the 1-yard line going out of bounds. And obviously Kamari Bolden continues to enter the fray. We've got a lot of guys. I think Washington got an end around. It was like a fake on TV. It was from the top to the bottom. We were trying to score, but he slipped in the backfield. So there were opportunities to score. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to cash in.
Yeah. I was going to say it was kind of nice to see that rotation, but then also like it wasn't like the typical 1-2 punch that you would see. And like you can expect this out of Akram Wadley. You can expect this out of LaShawn Dan. What we would usually see. It was almost like every time someone would come in, like one, you didn't know what to expect because they were all doing so well. And 2, it was really nice to see like, oh, now we're like, we just got 7 yards. Did we just get 7 yards off that run? Like that was really fun. Nice to see.
As long as Caleb Johnson continues to be as effective as he is, which I'm expecting it to be, especially with our run game, although they made the adjustment, we had an opportunity to hit Gill on the same type of play, not the exact same play, but the same type of play that he scored against Illinois State with, where it was a boot action. We were going to set up and throw it back. I just don't think Cade got his feet underneath him. Gill beat the safety. Now on TV, it's hard to tell if there was another corner on the backside. I didn't see another one. I think if he had laid it out there for Gill, I think he would have gotten it, but I just don't know if he got his feet set. And I know we talked about it a little bit in the first episode that he was kind of throwing off his back foot a little bit more. So I don't know if he just had a problem boot and then trying to set up his feet. I know there was a guy near him and maybe he didn't feel comfortable making that throw. We ended up taking the sack. Obviously that's not ideal. We almost had a touchdown. We saw Caleb Brown flash on the quick seam, but their safety made a play on it. Caleb beat him up the seam, which is on the hash essentially. It's like an inside fade, and the safety ends up making a play. sometimes quarterbacks try to put that ball on a line as opposed to doing a moon ball. And it kind of depends. And what I mean by moon ball is like that ball literally goes up to the moon and then comes down. Like Russell Wilson does a really good moon ball. And there's two different types. Like if you've got more of like a possession guy, you're probably going to want to zoom it to him because you know he's probably not going to run underneath it. Most of my balls were thrown to me. Like CJ would zip it to me. But like Caleb Brown, I think he's a fast guy. In that particular situation, if we moonball it, we might have an opportunity there for him to run underneath it, but he tried to zip it to him. Safety made a great play. You know, potentially that ball gets there in other instances, but unfortunately we didn't hit that. So we did have a few shots downfield. We just didn't connect them as often as we did against Illinois State. And I mean, sometimes it's just the way it goes. Defensively,
wait, hold on. I have a video on my phone. So I was at the south end zone and I was like right there, had this great like camera shot. And it was when was it?
He threw it to Gill to try and get the touchdown.
Yeah, and they had like a lot of tries down there at the end.
Okay.
I'm doing a bad job summarizing.
Great.
No, let me analyze.
Yeah, no, you are on fire. You keep going.
Either way, I took the video because I was like, oh, I'm going to get the touchdown right here and like get a cool video of it, whatever. And so Gil comes like, I mean, literally was just right in front of me and he goes up for the ball. And when I tell you, this video is the most obvious form of pass interference. Oh, I almost messed that up. Pass interference that I've ever seen. It's crazy. Everybody on the student section was like, oh, throw the flag. And then I was like, oh, I don't know. Like it just happened really quickly, you know? So I go back on my phone, look the video, like slow motion. I was like, whoa, that was really bad. So that was sad that didn't get called.
The announcer said that was a good no call. I try not to be biased as much as possible.
I was there.
I really try not to.
I showed you the
video. But I still think he pulled his shoulder just enough to where he couldn't get to the ball.
He did not pull his shoulder, Matt. He literally, boom, got him right out of the way. By the time the ball, where Gil was, the ball was going to come right to him. And like as the ball is coming right to him, it's like here and then smashes him out of the way. You hear that? How I do that, analyzing like that?
Yeah, you
sign me up for color commentary. Move over, Pat Anger. Just kidding.
Yeah. Quick tenure.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, so it was sad.
Yeah. Like I said, just missed opportunities. You know, you can't leave it up to the refs to win or lose the game. But just unfortunate. Defensively, first half obviously looked great. Second half, we'll talk about the Jay Higgins thing. First of all, I thought it was really cool that he went out and said that, especially when there's as much animosity among the fan base based on what I saw from like Twitter and Facebook and all these people saying stuff, right? And for him to go out there and be like, no, I took the blame. Like I need to take the blame, which I do see on the replay. He does reroute a little bit, but I mean, I went up against those guys, not necessarily Jay, but went up against like Ben Neiman and Bo Bauer and those guys, and they really tried like, huck yeah. You know, I mean, that's something that they do. And then Xavier was flat-footed. I don't know if he expected them to kind of cut it in between or have a little bit more time before he would open up his hips. They just had the right play call for the coverage. You know, I mean, that happens. And then Castro jumped the out, or I guess was going to allow the out when it was an out and up near the end of the game. You kind of mentioned that in his presser. He took it pretty hard on that. I mean, these guys are definitely out there doing their best, which is all we can ask of them, right? I mean, that's the hard part about being a collegiate athlete is the form that you have to go talk to people after you don't perform as well. Like, I don't want to turn it on like normal fans because I don't think that's fair. And, you know, the argument is this is what you sign up for. And now I'm kind of turning into like a character thing. Okay. But like if somebody were to miss a deadline, like let's say you have to get this presentation and you do a poor job giving the presentation, and then you have to answer questions about how poorly you gave your presentation, you wouldn't be very happy. And yeah, that's what these guys do all the time. They're 20-year-old kids. You know, it's like, I think we just need to give people and coaches a little bit more grace when they're dealing with these kinds of things that are so high stakes. Like they understand the stakes. They're out there playing. They're the ones that give all the time to it. But it's unfortunate anytime that, you know, they take it to heart clearly. And I just don't like to see that in post-game pressers. Just don't do media. Let the kid go back and take care of his, whatever he's got, whether it's school or family or whatever else.
Okay. That's fair.
No, you don't agree?
No, I do. I mean, You can see it's just you can see the emotion that was on every single guy's face that did a post-game presser. That not only did they know how much it means to them to win that game and win every game, but when it's an in-state rival, I think anybody that, whether it's Oklahoma State or Illinois State, whatever it is, like when it's an in-state, probably Illinois State. Anyway, when it's an in-state rival, like you care a lot and the fan base cares a lot. And so like what Castro said was like, man, you just don't like to let people down. Like you don't want to let your team down. You don't want to let your fans down. It's like you feel like you're letting down a lot more than just this football game. And so they feel it just, a lot more with that. So I mean, I get where you're coming from.
I've also got the feeling that they're not going to want to feel this way again. And so they're going to correct what needs to be corrected and then move on.
100%. Of course.
Defensively, though, for the most part, we played really sound football. We got after Rocco a little bit. They did take their chances. Their receivers, I said last time, like their receivers are good. The jump ball to Jaden Higgins in the end zone, TJ Hall had the ball and it got ripped from him. Like they were fighting it over and then the other guy got it. I mean, that's a heck of a play by that player. So, I mean, their receivers came to play. Both of them had a touchdown, Jaden Higgins and Knoll as well. I believe it's Jalen Knoll. Like, they did good. Special teams, they made the kicks that were supposed to. I guess one thing that I didn't talk on with the offense was the fact that we went for 2. And I know that hindsight's 2020, right? In the moment, you kick the field goal, you give them an opportunity to potentially come back and kick the field goal to send it into overtime. But if you go for 2 and you get in this position and you make it, then they have to go down and score a touchdown on your team in the last seconds. I understand the thought process of like, I'm going to make it harder on them because that's going to give us the best opportunity to win the game. You just also have to answer if you don't get it, right? Extra point, potentially they kick the 54-yard field goal and then we go into overtime and then we obviously have to play that. But, and I'm sure they've got a sheet where it's like, okay, at least I know most teams do, where it's, this is the score, this is the amount of time left, this is when you should go for 2 and when you shouldn't. I'm sure they've got that internal document of like, okay, yeah, this is the opportunity that we're going to go for 2 now. Just unfortunately that didn't pan out. Now we'll go to special teams. Drew Stevens looks good, back to his form, and Reese Dakin looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. First punt inside like the 5. He had quite a few. He looks good right now.
The way the fans lit up when that happened, it was like deja vu all over again.
Not quite the old number 9. He's not quite 6'5", like 230 pounds or whatever Torrey was.
He's doing pretty good.
He looks pretty good thus far. Next up, we'll go with the unsung hero, brought to you by JB Roofing. And it's going to be Reese VandeBergs. So there's a couple different coaching points when you're running the football, but it also depends. You have to know who their force player is. What I mean by the force player is whether or not it's going to be the corner or the safety that's going to come down and make a play in the run game and who's more pass game oriented. Historically, Iowa State's been more of a quarters team, meaning that their safeties are more their run support and their corners are more their pass support. Okay. When you're in quarters coverage, it means that the 4 DBs, the 2 corners, and the 2 safeties all have a quarter of the field. When you do that, it turns into man-to-man pretty quick because the corners take their guys deep because typically it stays on that side. And then the safeties end up being the run-fill players. So on Caleb Johnson's first touchdown, first of all, I love the fact that we were wide and then we came in to do it, like just pre-snap stuff, right? So far, I've loved that about this offense. So they start wide, bring everybody in, and then they check to a quarters coverage. Reese VandeBergs, he doesn't even push at his corner because he knows that's not the fill guy. So, all week they were talking about we need to dig out their safeties. It's the same way than when I was playing. Dig out the safety because the safety's the better better tackler between him and the corner. And he's the one who's going to fill the hardest. So Reese VandeBergs comes off. He does what we call take 2. So you bring the corner to the safety and you take 2 of them out with 1 guy. He goes in, hits the safety, who's our better player. I think they were talking a lot about him. Fryer, they talked a lot about him and he's the one who made the play on Caleb Brown. Like he's a good player. He goes up, hits him, leaving the corner to not get hit, but he follows Reese VandeBergs in, and then it's 1-on-1 with Caleb Johnson. And not many corners are going to make that play, let alone even track him down appropriately. Because although it doesn't look like he's sprinting, for whatever reason, it looks like he's floating. But he gets right around and scores a touchdown. All because Reese VandeBergs did what he's supposed to do, which is take 2 to the safety, who's the run support guy, leave him 1-on-1 with the worst tackler, and it paid off.
Cool. All right. Unsung hero, Reese VandeBergs.
Reese VandeBergs.
Trying hard to get him on the podcast. He's a hard guy to get a hold of.
Got a lot going on. True freshman.
True. That's true.
Makes
sense. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into our conversation. Wait, is there anything else you wanted to say?
Thank you.
No.
You're thinking about me.
You're welcome.
No, I don't have anything else. I'm
Okay.
ready to get to the interview.
Okay. And I also just want to give a shout out to the fans for showing up and being so wonderful in Kinnick because it really was unbelievably loud.
Outside of your run-in. But yeah.
It was not a big deal. Hindsight, I'm fine. It was more the run-in that I had with the fire hydrant that I'm upset about. Okay, we're going to get into our interview now with Zach Ortwerth. We'll be right back. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small-town roofer you can trust. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right, but did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Well, we've got a very special guest in the studio today. Everyone, please welcome from Hawkeye Football, Zach Ortwerth. Hi, Zach.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. How's everything been? I mean, just from summer
Let's say we're 1 week in.
into the like first game, all the things. How you feeling? How's your body feeling? I feel like that first game is always kind of like a test. Like, how you doing?
It's good. It's feeling good. You know,
Okay.
just in general, body as good as it can be coming out of camps. I mean, you're gonna get that football feeling, but nothing too big. You know, just in general, we've been working since January with this new guys and new team, and finally got out there for a week and got to showcase it. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, you don't have any like wraps or like any kind of anything. That's always a
He
really
walked
good
in
sign.
here just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Well, good. Well, we always kind of like to start with our guests, just like really getting to know you as a person, kind of like your background, where you came from, all of the things. So we'll just start with like, where are you from?
St. Louis, Missouri, from
Okay.
South City.
Gotcha.
Actually in the city, not the suburbs. That's some people like to say I'm from. But no, from the city. I went to high school there. Just grew up, you know, older brother, 2 younger sisters.
Oh, wow. Big
So-
family.
Yeah. Yeah. Mom stayed at home, so she had to deal with all of us. Yeah, brother and I mean, he's a year older than me, so I went to high school with him, middle school or grade school. I mean, siblings, we walked to school or a block up. So, and then high school was 10-minute drive up the road. So,
Geez, that's really nice.
so yeah, I was in pretty much the city
Okay.
my whole life. And then I came to Iowa, and now I'm in not the city. So,
It's
It's-
literally called Iowa City.
Exactly.
yeah, it's a city. I guess.
It's a city.
Yeah, I remember the first time I was ever like drove through Iowa was actually my junior year. My cousin played at St. Thomas,
Okay.
and they were playing Drake. So we
Mm.
kind of drove up this way, went to Des Moines, and I'm like, why the heck am I driving through Iowa right now?
Oh, that hurts.
I mean, I hadn't really gone to like, it wasn't like I'm in Iowa, like it's a different thing, and then I'm here 2 years later, 3 years later, and I love it.
Yeah. Never
yeah.
would have thought.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so crazy. Okay, so you have 2 younger sisters and then an older brother. You say your older brother's only 1 year older than you?
Yeah,
that
one
right?
grade, he's like technically like 2 years, but like 8, whatever. So yeah, year older, we could say that.
In school, a year older.
it gets
Gotcha.
weird. He could be a year older or 2 grades older, but we'll just say.
Yeah. Does he play football?
No, he doesn't. He was a volleyball player in high school.
Volleyball?
Yeah.
Really?
Was it a school sanctioned sport?
Yeah. My high school was actually really good at volleyball. We were at one point when he was there my junior, we were like, some poll had him like a top 5 team in the country. Like they were really good.
What?
Seriously?
Yeah, they were good at volleyball.
Okay.
Their coach always tried to get me to play because my mom was a volleyball player. She played at Northern Illinois. She's in the Hall of Fame there. Like she was pretty good.
Well, you're just gonna casually drop that
Yeah,
she's in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, her team was like the first team to go to the tournament at Northern Illinois. So her team got inducted.
My
So she was a
goodness.
big volleyball. My sisters play volleyball. So like, I know it's like a weird sport for some families, but like for me, that was just like,
So you're the black sheep that didn't play.
yeah. Except my dad played at Drake, so me and him with football. Everyone else is
Gotcha.
volleyball. So,
Got it. Okay.
but now he goes to South Carolina, but he's studying abroad right now. So he's actually in Paris.
He's in Paris?
for this whole year. So me and him are living completely, totally different lives.
My goodness.
So,
That's crazy.
Did you go to the
Okay.
Olympics?
He didn't. He came home for he had like a problem with like an internship or some visa, whatever. I don't know that whole thing. But so he came back for the summer actually. So yeah, he was going to. I think he might have caught the back end. He wasn't there for like the main part.
Okay.
Yeah, he went back, I think, towards the back end and caught a couple things.
Yeah.
But he wasn't there for like the opening ceremony.
Right. That might be okay though, because I bet it was like packed
Yeah.
there. That's cool. Would you ever go visit?
We
him
did.
there? You did?
My whole family went in May, like that 3 weeks we had off. I spent a week of that. We went to Germany to visit my dad's friend for a weekend, and then we went down to Paris.
Okay.
So yeah,
What?
And how was that? Did you like it?
it was Germany was really relaxing because they kind of we stayed at like their house, like a little village.
Okay.
So like we just kind of chilled. We weren't really too touristy, if that makes sense. Like we weren't like hopping around on buses and stuff.
Yeah.
But then we went to Paris. That was a lot of fun. We went to Normandy on Memorial Day.
Oh.
Wow.
So yeah. That was
Wow.
sweet.
What was that experience like? Do they do anything there to like, I don't want to say celebrate, but recognize, I
They
guess,
do
or
it.
honor or?
They do it on the anniversary of D-Day,
Gotcha.
which was a weekish later.
Okay.
Okay.
It was still getting set up, but we
Sure.
were there on Memorial Day. It was just pretty sweet.
Yeah. That is so interesting. Wow. Okay. What'd you do in Paris? Anything good? Did your
Went to
brother
the
kind of
top
like show you around?
Yeah, went to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
You scared of heights at all?
Not really.
You can't be when you're that tall.
Well,
I mean, not.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where it's like, oh, we're a little high up here. Like this, once I was at the top, like I was fine. The elevator up though,
how long was
like-
that ride?
it's probably like a minute and a half or something, and it's old and like it's all glass.
Mm.
It's like you're looking out your shoulder to shoulder because they're loading everyone on, and you're like, okay. And you can look out and you're just slowly going up.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be okay if it was all glass, because then you kind of know like how close you are to the top.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah.
Because if you were just boxed in and you had no idea how close you were to the top and you're just in this like enclosed thing, don't you think you'd freak out? What if you got stuck?
I'd rather be stuck not knowing where I am than looking out.
Knowing how high you are.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I feel like having a little wherewithal might be okay.
When we went to the Pinstripe Bowl in New York, we went to the top of one of the buildings there. I can't remember. And they closed us in, and we were on that elevator ride for a while.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that would have been better than had I seen how high we were going. Because there's always a little sway when you get up a little higher.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. Okay. So how old are your sisters?
Junior and then 7th grade.
7th grade?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So there's a really big gap between your oldest and
Yeah, there was
Yes, right?
1 year we were all in the same kindergarten, 8th grade at our grade school, which is literally, I could walk out my front door and see it down like a block away.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What do your parents do for work?
My dad's a lawyer, and then
Okay.
my mom stays at home. So
Gotcha. So that
That's
makes
nice.
sense.
She
You're kinda
was
like
a
living in the city.
science teacher and volleyball coach,
Okay.
and then my brother was born, and then I was born, and then she's like, I didn't watch them, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I can imagine you guys were probably a handful.
yeah,
Yeah.
and our block was really close. Like we had like actually one of our closest family friends, like one of their sons and my brother were born on the same day.
No way.
Yeah, and they live 2 doors, 3 doors down. So like
Really?
we're really close with them still.
Mhm.
Our whole block we were all kind of like, I was kind of the youngest of that group, and there were some people that just graduated college. Like all our kids, we just run around the block and play sports in the backyard and the alley and all that stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So obviously, I grew up in Iowa, not attuned to city living, as you would say.
Yeah.
We're all just farm folk out
Yeah.
here, Zach. No, but when you were like, did you have like a backyard to like play backyard football, or was it more just like alleyways, or what was that like?
So we'd have our backyard. We were big wiffle ball. When we got older, we'd play soccer. Like we'd knock like the wooden fence, like these 2 posts were the goal on each side.
Okay.
Mom hated it because it'd tear up the grass in the spot. She hated wiffle ball even more because we'd pull out the nice lawn chairs or the nice outdoor seating chairs for the strike zone. And that would tear up
And
dirt
then just get
spots,
peppered.
pitching mounds, peppered, all that stuff. But it was fun because like it would be the backyards, they were small. Like they weren't, I'm not saying they were big, they were small, but it'd be 2 backyards would be the field pretty much. So it'd be like the first fence, if you kept it in and the pitcher didn't field it, it was a single. If you hit it over the fence, the first fence, it was a double. If you carried it and it hit the second fence, it was a triple. If you carried the second fence, it was a home run.
Wow.
And if you could hit it into the third one, it was like a grand slam, which no one ever did.
Okay.
But like there were some summers like me and Jack was his friend, like our neighbor was born, same as my brother. Like we'd have home run, like we'd keep track of home runs for the summer. So like that was always fun. And then also we had like a basketball hoop in the alley, which was the alley was wide enough for like you could get the free throw line. And then like the 3-point line was like the other garage. It's like you had to shoot 3-pointers widthwise. You couldn't go straight on.
Okay.
And yeah, we had the chain net and everything. That was always, Dad's like, yeah, we're not replacing whatever mesh net every hour so often.
No, chain nets are really cool.
Yeah,
like the snap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys, you idiots won't be hanging on the net. You'll rip your fingers. You'll do it one time.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we also had like a park 2 blocks away that we could go up and hang out up. When we'd play like backyard football, one of my other buddies, Danny, it was his house, one house, and we called it the vacant lot. It was a vacant lot. Like there wasn't a house built on it. It was just a city plot of land. And we'd go play football there. It was perfect for us because we could have many people, like there was touchdowns on each ends. It was perfect. Like it was a perfect distance. We didn't have to bring cones or anything. So that's kind of what we'd play backyard football.
You said you wouldn't have to break codes.
Bring cones.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I didn't know if it was another city thing. I didn't
No.
know about Matt.
Shitty thing.
So everybody's backyard was just open. Like if you just hit it in the next fence, you're like, we'll just pop over and get it.
Yeah. I mean, some neighbors would get mad at you. It's like you'd have to like sneak in or like climb the fence quick and hop out. But those like, for the most part, like we were all either the same age or the older people, like we'd cut their lawn or like shovel their yard
gotcha.
or shovel their driveways or their sidewalks. Like it wasn't like we all like knew each other.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So like it wasn't like, yeah, you foul ball it and you'd go get it.
Yeah.
It's like a true neighborhood.
Yeah. It was pretty.
City living.
That's really
I
cool.
guess, like houses were literally like I could stand between my house and our neighbor's house like this. We could touch.
That's wild.
That's really cool. That's very unique. Okay.
So, well, hold on. You played a lot of different sports, like backyard sports and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like, what organized sports did you play outside of football growing up?
Growing up, I played baseball up until I think 7th grade, 8th grade,
What
Ish.
position?
first base.
I was gonna say with your frame, kind of
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was fun. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're good at baseball." Blah blah blah. I'm like, this just really isn't that fun to me, if that makes sense. Like, it was like the days just got long. Like, actually
Yes.
playing wasn't that bad. But, like the travel tournaments and stuff, like or like the tournaments, like you had like a 10 o'clock game or 10-2 game. You get there at 9 and you're not leaving till what is that, like 3 or 4?
Oh
almost?
yeah, at least.
Like it's parents were like when we stopped it, my dad's like, I like you guys playing, but this is a little more opening on the weekends. And then I played soccer for the school, for my grade school. I played volleyball. Mom was the coach. And then
Did you like playing for your mom?
yeah, she's probably the most competitive one out of my family though.
Seriously.
Oh yeah. We're like where I get like all my competitiveness from, she is probably her. And she's like the most serious about it too. Like she won't really show it. Like she's not the most outgoing with it. Like my dad would probably be more of that, but like she's like the one like I'd probably get my toughest competitiveness, I would say, from. So, yeah.
That's
very cool.
awesome.
Yeah. And then I played basketball pretty much my whole life, even through senior year of high school. Like that's where I was. I always thought I was gonna be a basketball player in college.
Mhm.
Like, so yeah, I'm a 4-year varsity starter. Like, I played a lot of basketball growing up. So
Is that something that you also got recruited for then? If you thought you were gonna play college ball?
kind of. I got invited to a couple, like a camp or two, and then I got my first offer at football. I'm like, maybe I should play football a little. Like my junior year, I got that, and I was like, football's pretty fun. My basketball coach was like, don't stop trying basketball. Like you could get some offers.
Of course,
basketball.
right?
I'm
Yeah, I
like,
mean he's a basketball coach.
and he's gonna say all that. So but I think once football started clicking, had a lot of fun with that. I knew football's gonna be the thing to do.
Mhm. Do you ever do like pickup games, basketball games with any of the guys?
Yeah, I've gone a couple times. We've gone to the rec
Mm.
and just
Mhm.
shot around and played some half pickup.
Have
I'm
you
not
played-
running back and playing too much defense.
At least you're honest. Have you played with Jay Higgins?
No.
He's convinced that he's like the LeBron James of the team. And I would
I've heard him
just-
talk.
I knew.
Yes. Last time
I'm
we had him
just-
on, he said that he and Tony Perkins played together and that he would cook Tony one-on-one.
I don't know about all
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
He's just such a like big dude.
I feel like his arms
This
wouldn't be
way.
able to bend to get the ball.
He's just a large man. That is so funny. Okay, so basketball. And then what was your kind of recruiting process like with football? What did that look like for you?
Really picked up. Well, it started junior year.
Mhm.
Sophomore year, I broke my collarbone, so I didn't play at all my sophomore year. And I didn't.
Wow.
I'll back up. Freshman was my first time ever playing football. I didn't play growing up. So I started freshman year. I was the JV team. We didn't have a freshman team. Just playing tight end, defensive end, just out there trying to learn the sport.
Sure.
I mean, I'd get thrown in on special teams on varsity. I can kind of not know what I'm doing, just kind of go out there running and trying to do something. And sophomore year, that's when COVID hit, the end of my freshman year, sophomore year. And so I actually broke my collarbone with when we built our own practices kind of, because coaches couldn't be there. We'd go jump
player-led.
Yeah, we'd go jump the fence at other high schools because the city was really strict.
Yeah, I bet.
I had to get COVID tested every other week, my sophomore and junior year.
My goodness.
So yeah, it's we had to do our own things. And I broke it, was out my sophomore year.
So you broke it at a player-led practice? Yeah. Oh, that's even worse.
Whoops. Darn it.
And then I go junior year, play tight end, outside linebacker, defensive end kind of person. And then that January, kind of Nebraska offers me. And then 2 days later, Indiana. And then Friday, Iowa offers me. And then it kind of just kept going from there.
Had you taken visits prior to that?
Not any of those schools. I went to Notre Dame for game day my junior year, Miami, Ohio, and Kansas.
Wow.
And then, funny enough, none of those 3 schools ever offered me. And then I went to I went to Nebraska. They came to visit me. I never visited, or they came to visit our coach. I got offered by them the day before I was actually at Iowa. So that junior day I was at Iowa.
Okay.
And then 5 days later, I got offered by Iowa. So it wasn't a visit them in the fall. They offered me later. It was literally a 5-day difference between that and junior day. And
well, looking at, like I said, I did very brief research, and this was just the list of offers. It looked like Nebraska, and then 8 more came after that in the next month or 2.
Yeah, it was that January, February was a lot of phone calls. It was fun, but yeah, it was a lot of schools. In St. Louis, the benefit of being in the big city is when coaches would come talk to other coaches, they'd just drive 5-10 minutes, and they'd be at another school that has really good players.
So as long as one person gets them there, they'll go to everyone
talk
else.
About everyone else. I remember my coach, he tells me some colleges will they'll sit down and recruit our guys, and then they'll ask about other guys, and then we'll just go to them. And so it's it benefits being in that city.
Sure.
Because word of mouth comes about. I wasn't my junior year, I was I think the 4th or 5th receiving option. I had played with some really good receivers and teammates. So I think I only had 15 catches of my junior year. So I didn't have the craziest stats or anything. But I guess just word of mouth and coaches liking all the whole game film and everything kind of shot off.
Who started the recruiting for you at Iowa?
Coach Woods. Coach Woods was, and Brian was still the tight ends coach at the time.
Gotcha.
So I talked to him for about a month, and then Coach Hodge got hired. And then him and Coach Woods both would call me. Then Coach Hodge actually took over the St. Louis area. So he's St. Louis now, or he's all St. Louis now.
That makes sense. Coach Woods also recruited me. We had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Pretty good dude.
Yeah, really good. He's really good.
That is so interesting. That is one of the more, I think, unique recruiting stories, just because it's not one of those ones where it's I've been playing football my whole life. Right. And then, by the time I got to high school, I kind of specialized. Those are typically the stories that we hear. Yeah. It just kind of seems like a happenstance to hear you I just tried football and
well, I knew I'd always wanted to play it.
Okay.
But my dad's you're not playing until high school. He's I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you messing something up. I want you to learn actually how to somewhat play from a high school coach, not these junior guys just going out and just playing. He goes, I want you to actually learn, because that was what his stepdad told him. That's what his dad told him. So he couldn't play till high school either. So it kind of just been passed down since. So I'd always wanted to play. I'd always gone, like I said, my older cousin, he played. So I'd always go to his high school games. I'd always wanted to. We'd always play back. I'd always watch it on Sundays. I'd always watch it on Saturdays. But yeah, I never played until high school.
That's kind of an interesting perspective too, because now, we like to talk about youth sports a lot, just because.
So we've got 2 kids. You got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and how to navigate that. So this is always fascinating to us.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting. Now I feel like it's kind of the trend of put them in as many sports as you can possibly get them in as early as you possibly can, and that's a really different, way to do it. And it almost like you said, like you always wanted to. It made you like more hungry to like once you hit that freshman year, like, oh yeah, now I'm like ready to go and experience this. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I played plenty of sports. Like I was, they threw me in like everything.
Okay.
But they like limited, like football's not happening.
Gotcha. Just injury wise.
Yeah, they didn't want me doing something. I guess he has a whole reason. I was like, okay, I'm not playing. I never really fought it too. It wasn't like I said, I was a big basketball player.
Yeah.
Like I played basketball like all year round.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I'll just keep playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, I was like, okay, I'll wait till high school.
So you did like travel teams with basketball then, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I did.
Where'd you guys travel to?
We to Indianapolis was a big one. Kansas City, we go down. I went to Georgia a couple times. I was in Texas once or twice.
Oh, you were everywhere.
Yeah. When I got to high school, I played with this team called Gateway, and they were on the Under Armour circuit.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we went to the big ones there.
Yeah. And you had said too that on your high school football team, you had a lot of like really talented receivers. Was there anybody else that you played with? I'm assuming there is, but that also played D1?
Football?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have two. There was two guys year older than me. One was a safety at Mizzou. One's a receiver at Wisconsin.
Dang.
And then my grade. And then I was my grade. And then you're younger than me. True freshman at Texas right now, who just had like 5 catches, 90-something yards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're open.
Perch in a big city.
Yeah. Okay.
No, really. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't like my junior year. I think I don't think I had 20 catches. Like honestly, and then my senior year, I had less catches than my junior year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So then recruiting wise, was there anybody else kind of like on the roster of people that were calling you that you were like, okay, maybe I'll consider this one? Or were you kind of set on Iowa once you had those conversations?
I knew once I went through that whole junior year spring, it had come down to where I took my officials, which was Pitt, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and here.
Okay.
And those were schools that I always say, like, I enjoyed talking to. I visited them, everyone except Wisconsin, because they offered me later. But I enjoyed talking to the coaches. I enjoyed being around the facility, just the vibe that was going on. And then when I took my officials, it was a hard decision for me. Because, I mean, the whole thing was, for me, is I wanted, like, a culture that felt real during the visit. Like I didn't want like the schools that were just like throw everything at you. Like we've got all this. Like I wanted to like see what like the players felt like and the vibe that was with each other. Cause like you can get everything you want, but like, is that really going to help you with everything? Are you really going to enjoy your time? That's why when I thought like, I want like a real culture when I was around the guys and Iowa seemed to fit me the best. If that makes sense. So that's why I decided to commit here.
Who hosted you on your official?
Lachey.
Yeah. So yeah, you got a front row seat of what the culture's like here.
Yeah, and Iowa had always been like a school I really enjoyed talking to throughout this recruiting process. So it wasn't like they just came out of nowhere.
Sure,
they were up at the top for the most part. And yeah, the visit kind of solidified it. I was up here actually 3 different times. Okay. One before my offer, came to a spring practice, and then came on an official.
Okay. Did you come to? I'm assuming you did, but come to a game. Like
I
at
came to
Kinnick?
3 games after I'd committed.
Okay.
I came to Iowa State, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Okay. So will this be your first Iowa State game that you're playing in at home?
Yes.
Is that right?
Because the last home one was on the visit.
Yeah. Nice. Are you excited?
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is so crazy.
Yeah. Last year was pretty juiced.
They do have a really good game day atmosphere at Iowa State. Yeah. Like it's usually really loud.
Their grass is so nice.
It is.
Like, well, you get it early in the year. Like week 2, it's like pristine turf.
Oh yeah. That was like the first college grass field I'd ever been on. I was used to like the couple high school ones, which were like not good at all. Like we found a dead bird at one before a game. Like that was a true story. And then you get there like, hey, this stuff's kind of nice.
Yes.
It's pretty nice. Grass fields.
Every time. Every time.
You have to talk about the grass. It's unbelievable.
It is.
Which Pitt actually had some decent grass. We played, it would have been 2014, I think. We played over at Pitt, and it was early in the year, it was like week 3. So again, their grass, and they shared the field with the Steelers, right? So they're going to have nice grass. But still, nothing beats Iowa State's early season grass.
I remember during like their media day, somebody posted like they had signs up that was like, keep off the grass. Like nobody could go on their field. Oh, yeah. I'd be curious how long they keep people off. Like, is it actually up until game day? Like the team can't go on? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, but.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's like, it's good grass fields are like really nice.
I love how passionate you guys are about it. That's
Would you play on turf
Yeah.
all the time? It's a nice change of pace.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. I just wanted to backtrack just a little bit when you were talking about the culture, because like you said, like everybody wants to throw all of the things at players now. I
Yeah.
feel like money obviously is now a thing that that's into consideration, and then it's like facilities and gear and just all of that kind of stuff. And it's really cool to see. And I know the fans like really love like the grassroots of what Iowa football players typically are. And so it's really cool to even hear like in today's world, because there's people like, oh, it's all about money now. It's all about facilities and the glam and the glitz. And it's just really cool to hear that there are still guys that are going places because of the culture and because of the people. And I think that's a testament to Coach Ferentz, don't you think?
100%. I mean, like, that was also one of the things when I was going through the process. Like, my parents made sure I wasn't focused on, like, kind of, I wouldn't say the nonsense, but like the extra stuff.
Sure.
Like, they were like, you're going to a school that you can get a good degree that you want to do. You're like being around the people. You're like being around the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not, I mean, you're playing in the Big Ten. You're not going to be struggling with anything. Like, it's not like you're going to be missing anything, but like, we're finding the right fit for you. And my mom really preached that until the day I committed. Mm-hmm. She was like certain that I was like, you're going to find a place that you like, not from what other people are saying.
Yeah.
Do you think they were privately rooting for any school particularly?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
But did they do a good job basically letting you make the choice? Is what it sounds like.
They 100% they let me make choice, but they weren't also like, if a school that they didn't like, they would have told me you're not going there. Mm-hmm. Like they were like, yeah, we're good with these schools. Like, and we're good with your decision. So that's what I ended up having. Like, and I talked to them all the time about it. Like, it wasn't like I was just like,
well, sure,
on my own. Like, we had all the layovers and from the official visits. Like, we had one coming back from Pitt. We had like a 4 or 5 hour layover in Detroit.
Dang.
And I remember we literally sat down with a notebook and made a pros and cons, like ranked every the 4 schools in like 20 different categories. And like
my goodness.
Yeah, it was like, we were like, which one we can like here? Like, because we had time. And then we thought we were going to get through it all. And then we got through about a third and just lost our minds. So we're like, we're not doing this anymore.
It sounded great, but now I don't
like,
actually
this
want
is
to do
not
it.
a good idea. No, we're not doing that. And then we went to the old way of just talking through and all that stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really nice process to go through with your parents, and just almost like a bonding process too.
Yeah.
That knowing that they're kind of like in your corner, but also letting you make that decision. So that's really special. Yeah. So then you get to Iowa, and coming from the big city, like what was it? What was your first? I'm not gonna let that go. What was your first like few weeks like? Were you kind of like, this is super boring, or
No, I wouldn't say like I know I didn't want to go to college in a big city.
Okay.
Like I knew I didn't, like, because I went to SLU High School and then there's SLU University. Like, I didn't want to go to like a university.
SLU, for those of us that aren't from that area.
St. Louis University High School is where I went, and then St. Louis University.
Okay.
Run by the same order of priests, the Jesuits. Like,
oh, it's a private school.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I went to private high school.
Gotcha.
Catholic high school, all boys.
Okay.
250 boys in my class. It was a big private. We had guys come from like 40 minutes north, south, east, west, Illinois. Like, it's a big school. Okay. So, and that's also like St. Louis culture. I don't want to backtrack a little bit to high school, but like St. Louis culture, like a lot of people just go to like single like sex private high schools. Like, I know, like, I mean, there are public high schools. There are 100%. There's good ones. But, like, I know a lot. All my friends went to SLU High School where I went, and then like all the girls that went to their private high schools. And yeah, that's kind of just like, that was like kind of like the St. Louis, as you'd say, the big city thing of going to like
I had no idea.
Yeah, nothing.
So that's also like in St. Louis. Like, if you're talking to a St. Louis person, you're like, where'd you go to high school? Like, here, if I said that, they'd be like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, I lived here, so I went here.
Yeah.
Like, I know guys that lived closer to multiple other private schools that came to my school. So that's how you like, you can get like connections and people certain. But it's like, oh, and like my whole, like, my grandpa went there, my dad, great uncle, cousins, like all went to my high school. So yeah.
All right.
My goodness.
Yeah.
There's some real lineage over there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oldest high school west of Mississippi, 1818. We opened. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good information.
That's wild.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know.
I like that
where
there's
we
a
were at
passion
before
coming
that.
out of it, though.
Yeah. I mean, there used to be a big thing from my high school. We had the biggest pool hall west of Mississippi, like where you'd play pool.
Yeah.
But they ended up knocking like half of it, or moving half of it from a STEM center or whatever.
They got so salty. They got rid of our pool.
I mean, like it's really cool, but like I don't recall. It was like done by like freshman or sophomore year, but I don't recall too much going down there. Honestly, like, I mean, there were some people like I was like more like robotics teams, like all those people. Like, we had a big school, so like, that's where they spend their time.
That makes sense.
While I was outside and playing basketball.
So back to the original question: you leave the big city of SLU, to come to Iowa City in the name.
Yeah.
Like, so what was that transition like?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, Iowa City's like, it's a fun city. Like, I mean, it's not small. I wouldn't say it's tiny. It's not a small town. And just, I guess it's a different, like, you can literally moped like anywhere you want. Like, you couldn't do that in St. Louis. Like, that's just a fact. So, I mean, like, when I got my moped, like, we'd all go exploring around, seeing, like, where we could, like, what the city was about. Because I'd been here a couple times, but I didn't really explore, like, where I was going to be living. Then the first time, like, I really experienced, like, I guess you could say Iowa was the Soul and Beef days. My freshman year, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, it was pretty cool. Seeing people toss hay bales over.
I was gonna say, do you see yourself doing it?
No. I've had shoulders. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. Like, I'm not the one willing to risk throwing.
Excuses.
No, that's fair.
I also don't think I'd be the best at throwing.
I mean, Riley Moss even competed.
He did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, he didn't get last.
Yeah.
He didn't get first, but he didn't get last.
We live in Solon.
Oh, really?
So we know beef days real well. Yeah.
Peeper, I was a big fan of Peeper when he won it this year. So.
Yeah.
I was in his corner.
Yeah.
Other guys weren't happy, but I was in his corner.
Isn't it so funny how many people show up to watch that?
Oh, yeah.
It's the highlight.
It's a real spectacle.
Yeah. When I was there last summer, I was like, there's no, like, my thought was like, there's no way there's going to be 20 people deep. And I know it is. I'm like, holy cow.
I'm already starting to train for next year.
No, really.
I'm trying to throw my name in the hat. If Riley Moss can do it,
yeah,
I feel like, not saying I'm on the same level as Riley, but I feel like I should at least give it an attempt.
Yeah.
Don't do the stank face. It's
I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
as long as I'm not last.
Did they have the women's like bracket too? Yeah. Maybe I'll train.
We're going to train together?
No. Can you imagine? I would embarrass myself so badly.
I thought you were going to say you were going to embarrass me.
Well, the thing
which is
about
also
it
true.
too is when it like the hay like falls off of it and like into their face and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line. I'm out. Like I'd be picking that out of your hair forever.
I remember about the hay. Like, I remember like the Iowa people and the peoples from Nebraska. Like, oh, the hay's like greener, so it's like heavier.
Oh.
I'm like, well, whatever that means.
That was a recruiting pitch?
No.
Oh,
Like, while they were throwing the hay. Like, they were talking about the hay bales itself.
Gotcha.
Because last summer, apparently, they were
Nebraska, sorry.
drier, so they're lighter. Whatever farmers, Iowa people, Nebraska people, they said. I was like, sure, yeah, what he said. I didn't know that made it lighter or heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. I'm from here.
That's what they were saying.
Interesting.
I mean, it makes sense.
I guess.
So I guess anybody competing, go for the dry hay bales. The non-green.
Yeah, because probably the
Green ones have the moisture in it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It does actually. Huh. That's something. Okay. Biggest difference, I guess, from where you're from to moving here, would you say?
Oh, geez. I would say like kind of the proximity of everything. Like in my neighborhood, I could get everything. Like here, I guess like I wouldn't say it's spread out, but like you still kind of have to like moped or drives to like 5-10 minutes away. Like in my neighborhood, I literally will just like walk. Like we could walk to the grocery store if we wanted to.
Sure.
You could walk to get a sandwich. You walk to get ice cream. Walk to the park. All that stuff. So yeah, I guess that even though it wasn't like a big city, but there was more to do. But I guess everything was very central for me in our area. But other than that, I mean, I guess just like the buildings. I mean, yeah, there's not really high rises here.
Sure.
But like other than that, it's kind of just.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, it's kind of just.
We have one decently tall building and we call it the View.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been to the View?
Yeah.
Very good.
That's where we stay for our officials.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because that used to be the Sheridan, right over there.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. How was your I always like to ask this one. How was your first camp experience your freshman year? Because I remember he told his mom, he was like, you go into camp a boy and you come out a man.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a total experience.
Oh yeah,
That's fact.
it is. And like, I thought I think my whole grade completely disagreed with me. I thought mentally your first camp's hard.
Mm.
Like physically it's not necessarily, it's hard, but you're not doing as much as like the ones and twos.
Sure.
So you're not like, your body still feels it, but like you're not getting the 30 whatever plays.
I mean, you
Like,
get the Devo time at
you
the
get
end,
the Devo
but
time,
like,
but it's not like I don't know, you're not doing the move the ball,
You're
red
right.
zone.
you're right.
That was I was like, yeah, it hurts. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, not at all. But then this year, I remember this camp was physically harder. But back to freshman year, it was like, this is like the time where you don't have to, they always say, you don't have to worry about anything else.
Mhm.
Like, it's literally football from 7 in the morning till 7, 8 at night. Like, and that's all you have to worry about. And like, that was the first time I'd really like learned football. Like, I didn't really know too much, I guess, coverages and all that stuff. Like, you didn't know any of that in high school.
Mm.
Like I would say, if you knew that stuff in high school, you'd be a 20 times better high school football player.
Yeah.
Like, actually learning that in college, that was the hardest part mentally. And actually trying to do it on the field,
Sure.
it was really, it's hard. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, it was really hard.
Mhm.
But I mean, just and you got older guys to learn from, like Luke and Eric, my freshman year, and Steve. Like, those guys,
Mm.
4th, 5th, 6th year, or college guys.
Mhm.
Like,
Who was
I
your
mean,
roommate in camp your first year?
freshman? Ashton Stranga.
Oh, okay.
And so I roomed with him actually on the road too, all freshman year.
Gotcha.
So I mean, he was good learning too. I mean, he had a year under his belt, so
Right.
I'd ask them questions. I mean, that's the best part about our room. I think is like, guys, like, we're all like together, like we're a close knit room, and
Mhm.
that made camp a lot easier. Like, we'd sit around playing Among Us with everyone, like a little game on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we'd all do in our off times. So yeah,
Gotcha. Also, I want to say this 48 is a really weird tight end number. Do you guys feel that way?
I was giving it.
I know. Don't you think it's weird though?
I mean, there's some good 44 or 40s. Like
The-
Gus Clark was 44. mean,
I said
he was
this- I said
40s.
George
he
was
said George
46.
was 46, which I
46.
totally forgot.
Yeah.
I'm just used to, I guess, Iowa tight ends, aside from George, like the 85, 86, 84.
87
87.
or 38,
87.
right? Yeah.
Hawkinson was 38, which
Yeah,
is
that's
that was ugly. Like, there's no sugarcoating that one. That was ugly. Noah in 87, Noah Fant looked more like the part in
Yeah.
terms of the number.
Yeah. Matt's got a thing about numbers. And so now I've kind of like started paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And 48 is just a different one. It feels more like a fullback number to me. Do you feel that way?
I
mean,
could
yeah.
see that.
I could see it. Yeah.
Like if you and Hayden Large changed numbers, it would make more sense.
It probably would.
Hayden Large is 88, by the
Okay.
way.
Number. Yeah, it probably would.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
made fun of my number because it was 89, but it took up my entire body.
The numbers were almost touching
Yeah.
on the side.
You don't have to say this.
It's just a little guy. And it was just really funny. And now they've changed it to a tight end number, 89.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, Hoffman. Gavin. Yeah, he's 89.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Interesting.
Nico's for 20 years, but
Oh, no.
That's
Oh, man.
that's true. That's true.
if he hears that, he'll probably
He'll love
say
it.
so.
He'll love it. Oh, that's good. Okay.
One thing,
What else?
so one thing that we like to talk about. So you said you went to a private Catholic school.
Yeah.
Does faith play into anything? Like maybe the way you approach the game, or do you think about your faith often, or does it like how does that impact your life at this stage?
It kind of, I mean, I've been Catholic my whole life. Like, I was baptized like however months old I was. So like, it kind of just always been like church. I was like, the church was right there. So I mean, it wasn't really something like I thought about too much. Like, it was always just kind of there. It was a part of, like, I went to Catholic preschool or kindergarten through 12th grade.
So essentially, it was like, all right, I'm going to chapel now.
Yeah.
Versus,
Yeah. It wasn't like, I mean, sometimes, yeah, I think I'm forced to, but it's kind of just like, oh, it's normal. We're going to go to church.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, you'll say a prayer, but I'm not like, I would say I'm not the most outgoing Christian or Catholic.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it's just a part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So in at your high school, was academics like a really big deal? You said they knocked down part of the pool hall for STEM.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they take it pretty seriously. What was academics like for you in high school? And then also on top of that, what are you studying in college?
I'm studying exercise science now.
Okay.
But back to my high school, yeah, it was really, it's rigorous. Like, it's one of the harder high schools in St. Louis.
Okay.
And I mean, like, you'll go home and I'd have an hour and a half homework each night.
Yeah,
I'm just imagining her crying at the table.
Yeah. Like my dad and cousins always say, "Oh, you guys got it easier now than we did." We had 3 hours of homework a night.
My
Like, I mean,
goodness.
it's difficult. I mean, like, I took 4 years of Latin.
Okay.
I took, we had some pretty intense English classes, and I'm not a writer at all.
Sure.
Like, I'm not a good writer. Well, at least I didn't think I was. I got here and got a good grade on my first paper. What? That doesn't add up. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense. Took calculus in high school. I mean, it like prepares us well for college. Like, because when I got here, I didn't really have to learn that much how to study, how to manage my time and stuff.
Okay.
Because that's what they preached at our high school.
Mm-hmm.
Was we're going to prepare you. You're going to get to college, you're going to have less in-class time, but you're going to be ready for your open time, your free time, how to best manage that. And so that was a big thing, and still there. They're still changing some curriculums at the high school that even my grades, like, oh, it's kind of getting soft. But
Do you still have 8 hours at the Jardine Center?
no, I only had 4 freshman year, and then I'm done. So
Okay. Dang. You must have came in with, I mean, if you got academics like that,
I
I'm sure
came in
they
with, I
helped
think,
you out.
27 credit hours.
Yeah,
Oh my
they
gosh.
probably helped you out. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a lot,
Wow.
though.
That is a
So
lot.
I'm graduating 3.5 years. So when I'm done playing, I'll be graduating that winter. I probably could have graduated if I take like an extra summer class here and there
Mm-hmm.
with that 3 or whatever gap for exercise science. But yeah, I'll graduate in 3.5 years.
Okay. Exercise science. What do you want to do with that? Do you know yet?
Not too sure. I started as a mechanical engineer major.
Oh.
And then the semester as that, I was like, yeah, this isn't working with football.
Sure.
And I didn't like think I could be an engineer. Like, I was good at math and science. Like, that was my stronger suits. Like, I wasn't English at all.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, let's try this because that's the harder option of the 2, exercise science and that. And so it'd be easier to go down than start a semester later and engineering.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
So I
sense.
did that as a semester. And I'm like, no. I remember talking to my engineer advisor on campus. He's like, so, like, why do you want to switch? I'm like, I don't think I can be an engineer. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I just don't think. He's like, okay, I guess it's good for you to figure that out now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
yeah. So I switched to exercise science. I don't know, like physical therapy, maybe something like that. I want to stay involved in sports as long as possible, whether it's working with athletes, like training them or helping them get back.
Mm-hmm.
Something. I just want to stay involved in sports because that's what I enjoy. And the people, I just like the mindset of athletes rather than, I don't know, people rehabbing from like, I couldn't tell you something else, but like, I just like the competitive mindset of athletes.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of sequestered to the culture that you've been a part of. Like, it sounds like you've been a part of 2 very good cultures.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of nice to have that kind of background where no matter you go post playing days, you're going to have that background to bring to wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of on like the topic of culture, though, how have you seen like Coach Ferentz and then everybody else on the staff, like how they're all kind of together and on the same mission? How has that kind of impacted you? What's some of the most important things that you've learned just in these first couple of years being on the team?
I think one of like the biggest parts of like our culture is just like they always say, being brilliant at the basics. Like the little things matter. That's something like I guess you hear like other people say, but like, you don't realize how important it is until you get into like a culture that stresses it. Like you won't get through a practice that you're not doing individual.
Mhm.
Like you won't get through a film where you're not talking about a first step. Like even just that culture on the field, and then missing like a refuel shake, like that's unacceptable. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you miss something little, you can miss be a couple minutes late to an academic appointment, or they found out you missed class. Like that's a little thing. That's some people like, oh, that's okay. But like now it's just like that's a part of your culture. Like that's a part of something that like even the older guys don't accept. So that's just something that takes me and every coach, like offense, defense, special teams, like they'll all on the same page with that. That's just the biggest part of the culture that has like stuck with me is how on page you are for everything, because everything is to help the Hawks. Like everything's to help us. Like it's not about you. It's not about the offense. It's not about the defense. It's not about the punter. It's not about all this. It's about how can we have more points than the team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And along the way, you learn
Everything.
all the others. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I was going to hit on.
Yeah, like there's so many things you hear. Just like Coach Ferentz, like it doesn't take effort to be like a good person. Like be a good citizen. Like it's not like killing you outside. Like just be a good person. Like in general. Like,
Right.
it's not hurting you it'll never hurt you.
Right.
And so you hear that stuff all the time. And yeah.
Huh. Yeah, we always love to hear like just the little things that Coach Farron says like in your guys' meetings. And some of the guys have like some funny ones, right?
Yeah,
where-
he says some funny stuff. My notebook's just littered with stuff he says during
Yeah.
meetings. He's funny.
That's really cool. Very good. Was there any? Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's one more thing.
Okay.
So I talked about it a little bit off air, but so you were first unsung hero of this year,
Mm.
which means you were just doing your job.
Yeah.
And
Tell them what it was.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
This is the setup. All right. So it was the one where Cade rolls out to his left, hits you right for that would have been your second career catch, right?
Yeah.
But basically I talked about the fact that you were running short, saw a scramble, and then you turned upfield because it's a minor coaching point on scramble drill where if you're short and you're going near the boundary, you just turn it upfield.
Yeah.
And so that's why you were my unsung hero for that, because it's a minor coaching point that turned out to be a big play because we ended up scoring on that drive. But I know that kind of stuff is hammered in at practice and knowing, like you just said, brilliant at the basics.
Yeah.
But how nice is it to have a QB that can kind of move and make that kind of stuff for you too?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, that was just like a weird broken play in general. I remember running the route and I saw the pressure. I'm like, oh, this is going to get weird. Like, I saw it right. I didn't know it was going to get that like weird, but I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting about how the play breaks out. But I mean, just Cade made a great play. I mean, he made a play in the pocket and delivered a really good ball that I was able to get.
And you had high hands, like the little things,
Yeah.
like so I'm a receivers coach currently at Solon High School. And like I preach high hands because you're not going to be able to see the ball if it comes low, but your hands were high, make a good catch. But like that's the kind of stuff that day in and day out, people don't always notice. They're like, oh, he just caught it. It's like, well, a lot more to it than just like I happen to be there.
Yeah.
You know, like
Those things where, like, you're out there, you do it a couple of times, play breakdown at practice. You just get used to finishing the scramble drill or finishing a certain block. So when you get there on Saturdays and in front of 70,000 people, it's just another rep. It's another time that you see a play break down. So you're going to do play 2 or plan B.
train the way you play in the game.
Yeah. And that's preached all the time. Coach Hodge always says Tuesday plus Wednesday equals Saturday. If you're not going to do it on Tuesday and Wednesday, you're not going to do it on Saturday.
I like
He's been
that.
saying that this year.
Tuesday plus Wednesday equals Saturday. Huh.
Those
I
are
like
the
that a
big
lot.
work days.
That's some good math
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, that's guy.
That's some good algebra.
There you
No
go.
numbers involved, all letters. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
One last thing, and then we'll let you go here. We've had a lot of your time. So you're not playing football. You're not playing Among Us. Like, what are you doing in your off time outside of studying?
Golfing.
No way.
I'm about to go golf with Addison Strang after this, actually.
We're gonna go.
Pleasant Valley.
So you play tough courses.
Yeah, we're said we're gonna play every Thursday, till it gets too cold, because that's our one off day.
Right.
So we're gonna make a nice little series. I beat him last week. I'll beat him all year. So no problem.
So did you play golf growing up? And like,
In high school, I started playing with some of my friends.
gotcha.
I had a couple of buddies on the golf team at my high school. They're way better than I am. I've gotten a lot better because I played with them. And yeah, so
You ever play Finkbine?
yeah, I've played that. A couple
All right.
times.
What was your score on Finkbine?
My best one?
Yeah.
I've shot a 33 on the front. And that was the best round of golf I've ever played.
I don't
And it
know
was
what
also
that
playing as a 35 that day. 2 was playing as a par 4. So I shot 200 that day. But I've never shot under par ever again.
My good. Okay.
I also went back a couple days later and shot like a 40. So it wasn't like I'm like a really good
Hold on. What's
golfer.
par? 30, 36.
On 9
Okay.
holes.
Yeah.
I shot I think the best 18 I've shot there's like a 79 or 80. Yeah, I probably 80. I think I shot there. I've shot in 79 at 78 at PP.
My goodness. I came home saying I was going to get ready for the pro-am because I shot a 99 on Finkbine.
Yeah.
Because I got sub 100.
Yeah, but then also I'll go out like today. I'll probably go shoot like a 45. That's what I shot last week. Like,
I
I'm
mean-
very inconsistent with my game. Like, I mean, really inconsistent.
I mean, you've got other priorities. We understand.
I mean, but it's nice when I was playing because the day I shot that 33, I was playing with the 3 shooters, Ellsbury, Logan Jones, and Pieper. And it was me and Pieper versus Ellsbury and Logan Jones. And we kind of got in hand because I was playing really good. Like, I was playing really good. And he was playing really good too. And he has a couple over on like 7. He's like, well, I'm only a couple back from Zach. I'm like 5 over right now. So, well, technically you're 7 back. Right now. He's like, bro. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. So that was kind of a fun round.
That's wild. So like you legit golfer.
I wouldn't say legit, but
I mean 80 and sub 80, I feel. Like I said, I was ready for the pro-am at 99.
Yeah.
Like
I guess.
because the first time I played Fink Bun, I lost count at 120. And
The back of Fink's hard.
yo, it's unbelievable.
Front and back are totally different.
Yes.
9-hole course.
Yes.
Like the front, that day I shot that Georgia, I wouldn't have shot near that on the back.
Oh no,
'Cause
that's
you
true.
can miss anywhere, really, on the front.
A lot better. You ever
Yeah.
play Saddleback?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my favorite course because
Really?
I can play
Yeah.
a couple fairways over
Yeah.
and still be all right.
I haven't played my own ball there. I played there twice with I've gone with Alec Ian
Oh, yeah.
and Luke Elkins. I've gone there
Gotcha.
twice with them. Yeah, those were the groups both times. And we play like 2-man scrambles there.
Sure.
And
Yeah, that's it. Then, like I said, I can hit it anywhere on that one and still make it to the green.
But yeah, golf. A lot of guys on the team have been golfing recently.
It does seem like it's like a culture thing for you guys.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, 'cause you
pretty
can
much
still go-
everybody talks
still
about
going
it.
out competing. That's the fun part.
Right. But you're not
just-
getting hurt.
Yeah, you're not. You're out there swinging a club and still doing everything
Mhm.
competitive. Like over the summer, a couple rounds it would be me and Brendan Sullivan versus
Mm.
Addie and Hayden Marge.
Mhm.
So those
Dang.
we had a couple good matches there.
You imagine the massive, like you just said, you and 3 centers, they roll up to play a round of golf. Like,
Yeah.
you're
You all
too
need your-
big,
And
just
then
get
I'm the
out of here.
smallest one out there.
Yeah.
I'm
You guys
like,
all
"Whoa."
need your own golf cart just for weight limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, put 2 of you in there.
Yes. Golf cart or
Yeah.
Going uphill is a little short. But good thing Pink Pine's a flat course.
that's
Oh,
great.
that's really good. It is funny too when you guys do that like team bonding that you did this year at the what's that place called? It's not Top Golf. The
Pin seekers.
yeah, Pinseekers. It was just funny to watch like on the video. There were like some guys that were just like
Yeah.
this looked really nice. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's a good swing. Then you'd get some guys up there that never touched a club in their
Yeah.
life. I'm like, oh man.
Some people went and bought a glove. Like they're that serious. Like a golfing glove. I'm like, there's no way that you're taking pin seekers. this
Wait, just for
seriously.
pin seekers?
Yeah, like there's no way you're taking golf this serious right now.
That's awesome.
Like I was in slides, so I had to do it like barefoot and just slapping it. Like, I wasn't like, yeah, I mean, I could hit it, but I wasn't like actually focusing on it.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
love it.
mini golf got pretty competitive out there when we were that day. That was pretty fun.
Did you get any hole-in-ones?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
you're
sad
not that
memory
good.
for him. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to talk about it.
I don't think so.
Not the best putter. That's where I need to work.
Okay.
Short shift.
The short game.
It's
Got
always
it.
bad.
Very good. Well, Zach, thank you so much. We
This was a
appreciate
lot of
your
fun.
time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was so great to get to know you a little bit better and for the fans to get to know you a little bit better too. So, yeah, we just appreciate it and we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season and the rest of your career at Iowa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa.
As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
Hey, Hawk fans, looking for the perfect spot to fuel up before or celebrate after a Hawkeye win? Look no further than Marquee Pizzeria, located in the vibrant Iowa River Landing.
Their wood-fired pizzas have truly changed the pizza game.
Whether you're cheering on the Hawkeyes or just searching for a delicious meal, Marquee Pizzeria is the place to be. Swing by and experience the best pizza in Iowa. Go Hawks.
When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridor's best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
Well, Matt, we have exceeded the 24-hour rule. We have recapped, we have rehashed the loss of the Cy-Hawk Trophy. And now we move on. It stings, but we move on to Troy
Troy.
University.
Hmm?
So they're in Alabama. I actually did not know that. I had no idea where Troy would be. But they started in 1887 and they were called Troy State Normal School. I need people to stop putting normal in their school names. The one, Illinois State, made sense because it was in Normal, Illinois. This one, I'm a little confused.
They don't have abnormal Troy.
I guess maybe they do. Maybe in 1887 they did. It was called Troy State Weird School. That's stupid. That's stupid. And that's not real. So nobody come at me for that. Anyway, 1887, and it was just it was created to train teachers for Alabama schools. Then in 1893, they renamed it to Troy State Normal College as opposed to Troy State Normal School.
Good move.
Good move. 1929, Troy State Teachers College. Okay. 1957, they dropped teachers and called it Troy State College. 1950s, they began their relationship with the U.S. military and offered courses to nearby military bases. This is very interesting.
So teachers and military at this point.
Yes. And well, they had a business school as well
okay.
by this point too.
Okay.
But I just thought this was so interesting. And I just took this excerpt like straight from the Troy University school site. And it said, today, Troy service centers operate some 20 sites in 7 U.S. states at locations in Japan and South Korea and partnerships with universities in Vietnam and Malaysia. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So then now since they're worldwide, they dropped state from the name. And then that's how they're just Troy University now.
Were they always the Trojans?
So no, going to get to that too.
Oh, that was a great leading question.
Nice job.
Well,
It's like you knew exactly what I was going to say.
But I don't.
Well, so we'll backtrack just slightly to 1910 is when their football team started competing. And they started off as the Bulldogs or the Teachers. They went by 2 of them at the same time.
Could you imagine? Oh, we got the Troy teachers today. Not the teachers.
No. Scary stuff. And then in 1922, they became the Trojans. And then in 1931, they became the Red Wave, which was kind of off of the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Mm-hmm. And then in 1973, they decided to let the students vote on the official name, and they became the Trojans. So then from there, in the 1980s, this was when their mascot was born. T-Roy. That's his name. T-Roy. And obviously he's got the like traditional Trojan
when
garb.
Was the mascot?
1980s.
Ah, so they were already gone from the teachers. Because I want to know what that mascot would look like.
It's just a normal guy.
With a ruler or something.
Just like a nice, like
a button down
50-year-old teacher, like woman walks out like, all right, guys.
Got the glasses that have
do your best. I'm so proud of you. Like that. But in 2008, he actually won the 3rd best mascot in the nation.
My goodness. Is that based on, what's that based on? Do we know? Is it like a competition where they all go and compete?
So kind of from my understanding, they go to nationals in Florida. At least it's what it is now. And they put on like a little skit there. But in order to get invited to nationals, you have to put together this whole video of you like interacting with fans,
you have to send
at games. Yeah, basically. And then you get invited to compete in front of like judges and
the mascot games.
Yeah, basically. So
Herks.
What?
Get going.
Herky.
It was a nickname for Herky.
He typically goes to nationals.
Just saying.
I'm not sure the highest that he's ever placed. So I don't have any like the photos of what he looked like back in the 80s, but I do have a few, and we're going to put them up on the screen too. And I'm also just going to show you. So this one, his eyebrows are crazy.
Oh my. That looks like a Trojan.
Okay. And then this one, I don't know what's happening with the shoes and the pants, but
this one.
Yeah.
So he had a luau?
I don't know. I don't know what this is. And then this is the most recent one. Not bad. Kind of a nice look.
Way too happy.
I think he's a good looking mascot. I think it's a good one.
I feel like Trojans are supposed to like spark fear. That one's like, I'm here to have a good time.
It's for the kids, you know?
It's for the FTK.
Anyway, T-Roy, welcome to Kinnick Stadium this weekend.
I do like T-Roy. That's kind of a cool name.
It is a good name. Anyway, that's kind of my background. Nothing too crazy.
As we're talking about mascots, sorry. Yeah. Do they like plan skits? So like would T-Roy come down and be like, hey, Herky, we're going to do this, this, and this?
Yes. Yeah, they did one with like they played tic-tac-toe, like Cy and Herky did. They did a few other things too. Yeah, they plan it like ahead of time, and they'll bring them down to the student section, and they do a whole thing in front of the students. Yep.
That's
and then
cool.
whatever stadium you're in, then that
mascot wins.
That mascot wins.
Sure.
Typically.
Have you seen the home mascot lose?
I don't think so. Not in Kinnick, but that doesn't mean that Herky doesn't beat some you-know-what in other stadiums. Can't speak for him.
Can't speak for Herks.
Anyway, so yeah, that's that on that.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
T-Roy.
I don't think I said anything that's going to get me in trouble. Usually, sometimes I get some things wrong or just summarize too much and be like, that's not the full story of the thing with the thing. So
yeah, I think that was good. I mean, everybody finds something, but
tell me about the team.
So they're 0-2.
Okay.
Lost a really close one against Nevada.
Okay. Week 1, I'm assuming?
Week 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then they
week
played
1.
Memphis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they played Nevada. Kind of a back and forth game. Troy had a ton of yards, but just couldn't finish. But they got really, really close. They got the ball down 28-17. They went down, kicked a field goal, make it 28-20, and then got the ball back with like just under 2 minutes to go. Drove down the field, scored a touchdown. This dude made an incredible catch on the sideline. Missed the 2-point conversion, lost 28-26. And he caught the touchdown with 21 seconds to go. Like it was one of those where like they had to fight to the end. Now it was at home, which always gives you a little bit of juice. But as we saw, like it takes a strong team to finish all the way through that. So obviously their mental is good for that. And they had a receiver there. He had 7 catches for like 102 yards and a touchdown. Like they were moving the ball. Then they go up against Memphis. And Memphis wasn't having any of it. They lost 38-17. Troy did. Really didn't score until late. It was 7-7, and then Memphis was like, wait a minute. And then just kind of went off. Receiver that had 107 yards had 20. Running back that had like 133 yards had 30. Like it was a tale of two very different teams. Quarterback looked pretty decent in the first one. They played 2 quarterbacks in the second game against Memphis. So we'll see exactly who we get on Saturday. But as far as like schematics go, offensively, nothing super crazy. They didn't take a ton of shots, but they also have a bunch of curl routes and hook routes and stuff like that kind of plays into what Iowa wants to do in terms of keep everything in front, and then we'll deal with the rest. Obviously, recent events not included where there were 2 deep balls, but for the most part, Iowa does a really good job of keeping guys in front. Sure tackling, that's something that Nevada didn't do. There was one run in particular where I think the running back broke like 5 tackles. Like you just don't see that against an Iowa defense. So I expect us to be more sound than that. But they're willing to spread around a little bit, but they also protect more. Like I saw a lot of 3-man routes, meaning that they're leaving in 6 guys to protect. Is that right? No, 7 guys to protect the quarterback and then 3 receivers out. So, I mean, there are 7 guys to protect. What we normally bring is 4. Hopefully that leads us to be advantageous and take advantage of the quarterback's not really errant, but hopefully we just have more guys out there that can make a play. Their turnover ratio is 0. They haven't forced one. They haven't given one away through 2 games. It's kind of interesting. They've forced 1 fumble and that was it. Other than that, nothing really to write home about on that. Defensively.
Sorry, I just felt like you really wanted me to react when you said the turnover ratio is 0 and I didn't say anything. I feel like I should be like, no way. Sorry. No way.
Thanks. Makes me feel validated in what I'm saying. As for their defense, they run like one thing that stuck out to me is like their short yardage stuff, which obviously we need to be better at. Like first and goal from the 4-3 or whatever it is. They run like I don't want to call it like a 5 down linemen because it's not. It's 3 down linemen, 3 big guys, but then 2 stand-up ends. And it's always surprising to me when people don't put in 5 down linemen just because they're bigger bodies. Like the whole goal of it is just to make sure that the running back doesn't find a hole. Now, if your stand-up guys are strong and like they can slant and potentially beat somebody across, and maybe that's the thought. But I always prefer to have like big guys standing there. So the fact they only have 3 and then Memphis scored in short yardage situations. So I expect us to be similar to that if we get into that situation. But again, a 3 down lineman look. Sometimes they'll bring their ends up to make it like a 5 down lineman look, but they stand up. Sometimes they might peel off with a swing pass or something like that. But it's going to be more similar to Illinois State than it will be Iowa State because they did have kind of a 4-3 look. But they're going to get a few different looks, which again, early in the season, I think it's really good to see all these things so that way you can be more buttoned up if you face them later down the line. Like we saw Nebraska play Colorado. They ran a 3-4 look. Now that we've gotten a full game against a 3-4 look in terms of Iowa State, be more ready for that game way down the line, right? But offensively, I think we just need to feed Caleb Johnson. I think that's the first and foremost, and use him to get our boots. Even the one that we held and we didn't throw it to Gil, that was off a Caleb Johnson boot, and he had an opportunity to throw it. So there's going to be opportunities there. We did a lot of boots in game one. I expect us to come back to that here against Troy, and kind of put up similar numbers that we did against Illinois State. This is a better outfit than what Illinois State is in terms of Troy, but I still feel like this is going to be a game where we kind of get back up underneath ourselves and do what we did week one.
Cool. Well, that's exciting.
Hoping to be advantageous and then just take care of the football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's Iowa football, right? Mm-hmm. Special teams, I feel like I don't need to talk about because Reese did really well, Drew did really well, and I expect that to be the case. Weejan didn't get as many opportunities, but I do like the fact that he's kind of a risk taker back there. Mm-hmm. He'll take it with a guy right in his face and then move and try and make a guy miss before he goes. So having somebody back there that's a little more aggressive is always a good thing.
And really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like he's the definition of do.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Like, I feel really bad for the people that aren't watching YouTube because they're just hearing me go do.
Yeah, no. Totally makes sense.
So please subscribe to the channel so I don't look as dumb.
It is cool it's just really exciting to see somebody that's willing to take it and run with it. And obviously we came off of having Cooper DeJean back there that was willing to do the same thing. So yeah.
It takes a certain mindset for sure to be okay with guys sprinting 40 yards straight at you. And you're like, I'm just going to
see what I can do.
I'm just going to catch it anyway.
Yeah. I remember the time you got smacked at the Pinstripe Bowl. I thought that was it for you. I'm sorry. That was like cement
there was
that
no
you were
footing.
falling on. And it was just bang.
Okay. Well,
you got it though.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What's the weather like on Saturday?
What is the weather like on Saturday?
82 degrees, low of 59. So it's going to be a lot warmer than it was this past
3
Saturday.
o'clock. So, I mean, it might cool off there towards the end.
A little bit. Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, with the sun going down and everything.
It didn't really have a night game field, did it? Iowa State?
No, not at all.
So we're probably not going to have that similar field for Troy.
No,
although
I
it's
don't
going to be a half hour later.
Yeah, half hour later. I mean, the sun will just be going down. So like the lights will be on, because the second the sun starts kind of getting close to the press box, they turn them on. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So it did get a little bit chilly once you were in the shade on Saturday, but it kind of felt nice. So
I also, one thing that I didn't really talk about at the beginning of the episode, but that is going to be a key moving forward. We have to get Luke Lachey the ball.
Oh, yeah.
He is too good to not get the ball. And it's just a simple out route, a simple hitch. Like our tight ends motioned a lot against Illinois State, not as much. And maybe they just didn't like the matchup they were going to get against Iowa State. But those guys kind of make our team go in essence. But I've really liked what I've seen from Jacob Gill. Get him another, 4 or 5 catches. Obviously, we saw what Caleb Brown can do last year. Reese Vanderzee, like we've got enough guys, and we were really good about distributing the ball in week 1. Not as good in week 2, so I'm hoping that we can get back to that here in week 3.
For sure. I kind of forgot about that too. We had talked about that earlier today.
Mm-hmm. We talked about off air, but
yeah. Also, Saturday is the gold out game. So be bold, wear gold, as they say. Mm. You know what's funny? I saw a shirt the other day that said, be bold, wear gold, and the shirt was black. It's like, be bold, wear gold, but not today. Just a reminder for future. Which is kind of funny. Anyway, all right. Great episode. Good preview. Looking forward to this weekend. I think it'll be great.
Are you getting back into your cheerleader roots?
A little bit.
Getting hype here for the...
I know. You can take the girl out of cheerleading, but you can't take the cheerleading out of the girl. I'm just a girl.
Bars.
It's so annoying. All right. Well, we are just so glad that all of you decided to join us. Again, we are moving on. We are moving up. And the Hawks they're going to keep rolling through the season. And we just appreciate all of you guys showing up to the games, obviously. Watch it on TV. And then, of course, tuning in to Talkin Hawks.
Which we need to subscribe.
Yes.
Not only to Apple Music.
Yeah.
Or Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, but also on YouTube. I think, and John can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're going to have some giveaways coming over on the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So Talkin Hawks merch.
I've been getting a lot of messages about people asking about the Talkin Hawks t-shirt that you and I have been wearing. Saying, do you sell that? If I'm being brutally honest, I don't know how we would even sell them. I don't know how to set up a store online or anything like that. So
I guess for right now, we just have to give them away. That was so lame. Why did that feel like a local TV commercial?
Okay. It's time to go. Anyway, please subscribe. Subscribe to the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. If you're watching on the Talk About Network, we love having you here as well. But subscribe to that channel. Again, we're having giveaways. We have our extended conversations with our interviewees that are happening over there as well. So you don't want to miss out on that. And we will see you coming up next week for another fun-filled episode with a great interview. And I think that's it. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.